What's going on, everyone? So this Phoenix Suns situation just keeps getting worse and worse. I mean, Bradley Beal is having to deal with all this noise and the media constantly asking him questions, and he's over here talking about how he's been using Bible passages to try to get him through because, his frustrations and whatnot, right? And then, you have Nurk, who is getting DNPs and stuff because they're trying to, experiment and figure out what is happening here. What do you do at this point? Because they're not going to be able to move off of Bradley Beal. Not going to happen. I don't see somebody willing to take it on. The only team that maybe kind of makes sense to maybe do it, but supposedly they're not interested, is the Miami Heat in a swap for Jimmy Butler. Because it's like, who are you going to get that's better for a Jimmy Butler, especially with them wanting to remain competitive, especially with them wanting to stay in kind of the playoff picture, the playoff hunt. But if Miami isn't open to that, you're cooked, right? Like Bradley Beal. Right, supposedly they're not trying to force him to waive his no trade clause or anything like that. Supposedly, the benching isn't because of that, and all the noise that's going on right now is not because of that. And everyone's happy and kumbaya, but you see otherwise. I mean, it's very apparent, right? And Nurk is having all the media is just. You don't think the media is going to keep poking, right? You don't think the media is just going to keep bringing it up to Nurk, hey man, how do you feel? Or bringing it up to Bradley Beal or all these guys. Of course they are, right? Kevin Durant in the offseason is going into his final year of his deal. You don't think that maybe he goes, hey, we tried, get me out of here? I mean, the guy's moved 3 times now. You think he's not willing to do it at 4th, right? Of course he will. Hey, he's only getting older. You don't think he's going to be like, dude, I should be, what would it be, 37, something like that? You don't think he's going to be like, yeah, it's time for me to get out of here, time for me to go, right? Or Devin Booker, you're going to end up having to trade Devin Booker, right? The problem is if Kevin Durant wants to leave, you're still not going to be okay. It's not like it's going to be, well, now we're better balanced because, now we don't have all 3, right? Or we turn Kevin Durant on stuff. Because the problem is Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, right? Kevin Durant is so skilled and so efficient, and he's the last issue. If you're better off trading everyone else and keeping Kevin Durant, really, because he's the guy that could fit with essentially anybody, because he is so efficient, doesn't need the ball in his hands heavily, he's bigger threat off ball than he is on ball, right? The guy's just everything, right? But the real problem is Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. They both are the same player. They both want to do the same things. They both play the same position. And neither is skilled enough as a playmaker to play the point guard. Neither is big enough to properly slot in and play the 3. And as long as those 2 guys are on your team, you're in trouble. What I think is probably going to have to happen is in the offseason, they're going to end up having to trade Devin Booker. If they really want to try to salvage this thing and try to build a competitive roster, they're going to have to trade Devin Booker. Devin Booker might be able to get you the players and pieces that you need to better round out. And then now you just have better natural positions, right? So now Devin Booker is your 2. Kevin Durant is your 3. Now you need to just trickle in everything else around them. Can you turn Nurk into a serviceable, can you get, a Clint Capella would be perfect, right? Somebody like that, right? Somebody that just in there to rebound and block the occasional shot. Obviously, he's not this great rim protector anymore. He's not Houston Clint Capella, but he's still one of the better offensive rebounders, right? If they could get somebody like that, bring somebody like that in, right, to where he doesn't need the ball, he's just a lob threat. He doesn't need to take 20 shot attempts a game or anything like that. You have your firepower between Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, right? Hopefully those 2 can stay healthy. Those 2 can stay healthy. Bradley Beal probably is a 25-point-a-game guy for you. Kevin Durant's probably, the 2 of them combined are probably going to give you 50 to 60 on a nightly basis. Right? Basically, you go with the plan that you should have went with when you had Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. You had the firepower. You had the offense. You had 2 of the best scorers in the league on the same team. And one of them fits with anybody because he's ultra efficient and doesn't need 20 shots a game. And you thought, not good enough. We need to get another one. Right? It made no sense. I don't know what some of these teams think. I don't know what... Matt Ishby, I understand, new owner syndrome. I don't know how you looked at that roster, you looked at that team and went, Bradley Beal, that's the guy we need. There's no justification for it. They're better off keeping Chris Paul at that point, because at least he could have been that playmaker and kept everything together. What they really needed to do was they really needed to get like a point of attack 3-and-D. Like they needed like a Bruce Brown. Somebody that can just bring the ball up and initiate. You don't need some crazy thing, because the ball's going to be in Devin Booker and Kevin Durant's hands 90% of the time. You needed somebody that could just bring the ball up, initiate, but lock down defensively, right? Play some defense, shoot the basketball in a kid. I know he's not a lights-out three-point shooter, but somebody like that, right? Somebody that could come in, be that point of attack, be that defensive guy for you, slot it alongside Devin Booker. Now they're your front court or your back court, right? And then have Kevin Durant go get, a serviceable power forward, somebody that can, again, rebound and knock down shots, right? Would have been great. And then go, like if they could have gotten a Dorian Finney-Smith, that would have been great, right? Could you have gotten, instead of going and trading for a Bradley Beal or something like that, could you have eventually gotten a Royce O'Neal and a Dorian Finney-Smith and saved your assets, saved all this stuff, instead of doing all this crazy stuff? Maybe you could even turn Ayton into those two guys, right? And then you would have been so much better. Imagine if you had like a Bruce Brown, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant with a Dorian Finney-Smith and, a Clint Capella. You would have been a contender, right? Because you would have had that point of attack defense. Devin Booker can get after it defensively, but he's your primary offensive option. Kevin Durant, he can play some defense, knock down shots. Got a Dorian Finney-Smith, 3-and-D guy, right? And you got a Clint Capella that's just rebounding and gobbling up everything, and, he's just there to strictly be putbacks, and then round out your bench. And you would have been, even if you're not a contender, you would have been a much better team than you are right now. Much better. Like they needed to flush out the roster that way. But instead thought, let's put all of our assets, allocate all of our assets into Bradley Beal, who we have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. But let's go get another Devin Booker. Right? Like, it's just, and I just don't see how they turn it around. There's no trade out there that's going to magically fix this. There's no, move that, oh, that's it. Now they're back to being that team. Like, there's nothing, there's no path that I see, at least this season. Now, again, in the offseason, I think you could take, Devin Booker and leverage him and turn him into several pieces that maybe could put you back into contention. But outside of that, I don't see a path. I don't see you being able to magically cure everything that you need to cure. They're incredibly limited. They don't have the assets or the players or the contracts or pieces or anything like that. It's just, what do you do? At some point, you're either going to have to trade Kevin Durant or you're going to have to trade Devin Booker, because you're not going to be able to trade. Your Bradley Beal. No one's going to take that contract. No one's going to go and give you real, actual, valuable assets and pieces for that, right? It's not going to happen. So you need to turn the Durants that teams would still go, you know what? Hey, man, yeah, you're not going to get the crazy return for him, but teams would go, hey, we get pretty, we might give us a chance to win here, right? And they might be willing to take that gamble, take that risk. Or, like I said, a Devin Booker where you can now take get a bunch of, you don't need picks. At that point, you need players, right? So can you turn him into 2 or 3 guys? Like I said, now you have Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, and those are your 2 primary offensive pieces, and then you're kind of trickling everything else around it. I think that's the only hope. Nurk, you're going to have to get him off of this team. Doesn't make sense. It made no sense to begin with. I mean, look, I said that this was going to happen. As soon as they traded for Bradley Beal, I was like, that's it. They just ruined their team, right? And everyone said, no, let's give him the championship now. And then they went and got Nurk, and it was why? I understand the idea of okay, him, you could kind of operate him as your pseudo, point center at times, but even then it just didn't make sense. I don't know. Go figure, right? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? First off, what do you make of kind of the Suns situation? What do you think the Suns, do you think they're going to be able to pull something off? Do you think they're going to be able to make a move? Or do you think, they're cooked, they're stuck, they're trapped, they're done? What do you think they should do? Do you think, Devin Booker's pretty much the only path? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it either way. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out as we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.